Welcome back to the Awesome Agents podcast. So, Maya, this one hit different for me. Anthropic just dropped their flagship safety pledge.
Yeah, this is a big deal. And I think a lot of people are going to read the headline and not fully understand what actually changed. So let me walk through it.
Please do, because Anthropic was the company that built its whole identity on being the safety first lab. What happened?
So back in September 2023, Anthropic published what they called the Responsible Scaling Policy. The core promise was simple: if their safety measures could not keep up with their model capabilities, they would stop training. Full stop.
And that was the thing that made them different from OpenAI and Google, right?
Exactly. It was a hard gate, not a suggestion, not a best effort, a binding commitment to pause development.
Okay, so what do they replace it with?
RSP version 3, published February 24th. The hard stop is gone. Instead, they have a conditional delay promise. They will only slow down if two things are true at the same time.
Two things. Okay, what are they?
First, Anthropic's leadership has to believe they are leading the AI race. And second, they have to judge that catastrophic risk is significant. Both conditions must be met simultaneously.
Wait, so if they think OpenAI is ahead, the safety brake just does not apply, even if the risk is real.
That is exactly the concern critics are raising. It is a dual condition that is almost impossible to trigger, because you can always argue someone else is ahead.
That feels like a race to the bottom argument, which is ironic because the whole original RSP was designed to reject that logic.
You nailed it. The RSP v3 document literally says if one developer paused while others moved forward, that could result in a world that is less safe. That is the exact argument the 2023 policy was built to counter.
So, what is their reasoning? Why make this change now?
They gave three reasons. First, the safety thresholds turned out to be fuzzier than expected. What they thought would be a bright red line turned out to be a gradient.
Okay, that is fair actually. These things are hard to measure precisely.
Second, the political climate. Government AI regulation has stalled, especially under the current administration. And third, they said higher safety levels might be impossible to implement without industry wide coordination.
And the timing here is just wild. Walk me through what else happened this same week.
So, Anthropic closed a $30 billion funding round at a $380 billion valuation 2 weeks ago. Dario Amodei went on a podcast and admitted the commercial pressure is, quote, incredible.
380 billion. That is a lot of pressure to keep growing.
Then the head of their safeguards research team, Mernink Sharma, resigned on February 9th. His letter said the world is in peril and that employees constantly face pressures to set aside what matters most.
That is pretty damning coming from the person who literally led safety research there.
And then on the exact same day as the RSP v3 announcement, the Pentagon escalated a standoff over military access to Claude. Defense Secretary Hegseth gave Amodei until Friday to grant unrestricted access or face blacklisting.
The Defense Production Act? That is a 1950s emergency powers law. They threaten that?
They did, and they also threatened to designate Anthropic a supply chain risk, which would effectively kill all their government contracts. The $200 million DoD contract is at stake.
So you have a $380 billion company, the Pentagon breathing down their neck, their safety lead just quit, and they dropped the safety pledge, all in the same 2 weeks.
The independent evaluator Safer AI actually downgraded Anthropic's safety score from 2.2 to 1.9. That puts them in the weak category alongside OpenAI and Google DeepMind.
Ouch. So practically speaking, what does this mean for Claude releases going forward?
It means Claude model releases are unlikely to be delayed by safety concerns alone. The gating mechanism is gone. The decision is now at leadership's discretion, conditional on competitive position.
To be fair, they did add some transparency stuff, right? Public reports, third-party review.
They did. Risk reports every 3 to 6 months, public frontier safety roadmaps. Those are genuine improvements, but they are disclosures, not constraints. They tell you what happened after the fact. The old RSP told you what would not happen in the first place.
That is a really important distinction.
I think the key takeaway is this: Anthropic is still probably the frontier lab that takes safety most seriously. But that says more about the industry than it does about Anthropic.
Wow, well said, Maya. All right, folks, that is a wrap for today. This story is still developing, so stay tuned. See you next time on the Awesome Agents podcast.